Today we're going to be talking about what we learned at the World Parkinson Congress in Barcelona, which ended 2 weeks ago. I can't believe it's already 2 weeks behind us. It was an amazing, amazing experience. And we have 6 of our participants who went with us, who are going to be sharing their stories, what they were impressed by, what they enjoyed. And we will open it up to questions and answers as well. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat, please. And we will be monitoring this one. And I'm going to have each of you introduce yourself real quickly. Tell me, well, Ethel has been here before. Everybody else is a first timer. And just tell me why you went. What did you expect to get from it? So Ethel, we'll start with you since you're the veteran.
Okay. I went again, second time, because I got so much out of it the first time. And what I hope to get out of it is to be able to ask questions and get more in detail on webinars and things that I've read, because a lot of the people who wrote those or spoke at webinars that I had listened to would be there, and I can actually meet them one-on-one and talk to them, and they're very open about being able to talk to them. And that's one of the things I liked about the conference, and that's why I went again, to be able to get in depth on a lot of things that you hear on webinars throughout the years.
Okay, thank you. Eileen. You're muted. You need to unmute.
I went because I had heard such wonderful things about the conference from Sharon and from Larry Gifford, from Pat Hill, and other people who were at the Yokohama of the conference in Japan. And I'm one of those people who wants more information and searching, and so it seemed like the perfect opportunity to learn more. Okay. And I did.
Great. Okay, Hank and Deborah.
I'm Deborah. I live in Northern California, and I was diagnosed about 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago. And I think I went not really knowing what to expect, but I guess hoping to get some inspiration or ideas about, how to live well with Parkinson's, and to see people who were doing that. And that was what I found.
I'm Hank Levy. I live with Deborah. And I went both to get some basic information about Parkinson's, and also to get the most advanced information about Parkinson's. And then I also went because there was a care partners support, which I can talk about a little later.
Okay. And Elisa?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Elisa Huntington here, and I got diagnosed about 2.5 years ago. And like others have said, it was my first time, so I was kind of a blank slate, and I didn't know what to expect. But I wanted to meet all the twitchy women in person, because I've been in this support group for a while. I also wanted to learn some new techniques or new things for interventions and things along those lines, which I did. And frankly, I lived in Spain, so I wanted to go to Spain. So that was another reason too. So it was a great experience.
And Patrice.
Oh, hi. So this is my first time there. And I was working up until a couple of years ago, so it wasn't really an option for me. And I've always enjoyed the conventions, sorry, audiology conventions I used to go to, where you see, a lot of people that had like interests, and you could talk to them and find out what's going on around the country or around the world. So I was looking forward to it for that reason.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, so I'm just going to ask some questions, and feel free to just chime in, with your answers. You don't have to answer every one of them. So what impressed you the most? Anybody?
What impressed me the most was the accessibility of some of the researchers and people that are doing all the research for us. I mean, the first morning that I went down to breakfast, I ran into Dr. Tansey, and I've seen a lot of her research on inflammation and Parkinson's, and I saw her getting breakfast, and I just started talking to her, invited her to have breakfast with me. And we had breakfast just about every morning after that, talked about research, talked about family. Just the accessibility of these people was amazing to me. And just don't be afraid of walking up to them and start talking. That's why they're there.
I found the staff there at the site extremely helpful and friendly and open to any questions that we had about logistics or what have you. I was really impressed with that, with the receptivity of the people there.
Okay.
I was impressed with the variety of people who came and the varied approaches that they're using to address Parkinson's, and the friendly and just the general friendliness, not only of the people at the convention, but the city. I was really impressed with how helpful people were. I know that they had made an effort before the conference to educate the local people, and I thought that it really paid off.
Great. Thank you.
I
Any
think-
other comments?
I think for people who weren't there, you can't imagine, I can't describe how much there was that was at the conference. There was like 3 tracks at any one time, so you couldn't do everything. There was, there was movies, there was exhibits, and then posters. There was like 1,000 posters. How could you see 1,000? How could you like walk through the poster exhibit? You couldn't do it, which actually was a good feeling, because you feel like there's thousands and thousands of people around the world working on Parkinson's. So you felt very kind of supported, and that something might happen in terms of discoveries and great things, because so many people are working on it.
Mhm.
I think I was most impressed and most moved by the creativity of the people there. That I saw a lot of the films, and they were just incredible. And I'd be happy to talk about some of them later, but that's what I loved.
Okay. What was your favorite? Was there another comment? Okay. What was your favorite session, and why was it your favorite? Patrice.
Comic.
Comic.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody saw him, but he was just amazing. They had a man who was a stand-up comic, and then he developed Parkinson's, so he started writing jokes about Parkinson's, and we were laughing so hard in there, and with no alcohol served or anything. This is like at lunchtime, and it was just after we saw a movie that was really sad. It was called Shaking Hands with the Devil, and it's about Kenya and how they aren't recognizing Parkinson's, and they're not getting medication and that kind of thing. There's a reporter that went there to interview these guys, and they're killing him too. So I walked out of there depressed and sad for them, and then I went into the comics class next, and I felt so much better. Not that things changed, but
I missed that. I'm going to try and invite him to join us one Sunday.
yeah, he's in England.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anybody else? What was your favorite session and why?
I had 2. One was the advocacy session that was the pre-conference. I thought that Sharon and all the other speakers did an incredible job, giving really good tips on what we can do as individuals and by organizing. So I want to thank them. The other was actually the exercise classes that I went to. Some of them I was familiar with because they're like Rocksteady Boxing, which I do, but then a lot of them were European sessions that I hadn't heard of. One of them involved a combination of drumming and with following notations and the music and switching around. It was amazing, and I was totally lost. But I'd like to. I'm sorry we don't have it yet in the U.S. I'd like to see more of that one.
For me, there was a morning session by a gentleman from Denmark on brain first or body first Parkinson's disease, where he talked about the two. In his theory, there are 2 types. You're either the brain first or body first, which I found pretty interesting. then I got really confused. I was sitting with a friend of mine that also has Parkinson's, and I was like, I don't know, I can't figure out whether I'm body or brain first. And he said, well, maybe you don't belong here. I'm like, well, I do. so yeah, it was just really interesting. And I think it's been talked about a little bit. The 3 tracks, I liked how I was encouraged to go to different tracks. I think Sharon, you even said to do that, like the research ones, more practical ones, and then it had like in the program they had how scientific they are on that little scale. So it was so I tried to change it up, like go to research-based, science-based, and then practical, like skills-based.
I went to ones that were kind of relative to me because I take immunosuppressants for another illness. And one of the doctors, there's a researcher that I had followed for a while that's doing research on immunosuppressants to slow the progression of Parkinson's. And since I take them anyway for another illness, I was wondering, you know, what the impact of that would be. And so it was interesting to be able to hear her and hear more about her research. And that was pretty good. I just got to get over my shyness of going up and asking a question in the public. I can go up to these people one-on-one, but in the big forum, I hold back a little bit on my questions. I wish I hadn't have done that. Next time, my 3rd time, I'll get that part right.
Okay. Is that everybody?
Well, you know, I went to the Care Partners forums, and if there are any Care Partners on this call, or I'd be glad to talk more about it one-on-one.
Great, thank you.
My husband went to a lot of those too, the caregiver.
Yeah, my
Sorry,
husband was Friday, they had a focus group. And I guess there were quite a few people there. A focus group for Care Partners. Okay, what was so special about this as opposed to other conferences that you have attended?
I've never been at a conference where you had the researchers and the patients and advocates all in one room. And that was really inspiring.
I think the inspirational aspect of it to me is different. Others, they tend to be kind of dry and, you know, they just put out information. Okay, that's good. But this one, between the opening ceremony, which is inspirational, and I want to mention the bike riders. I don't know if people know about this, but there were 2 groups of people that rode bikes. One group from the UK, another group from Italy, rode over 1,000 miles to Barcelona. And some of these people had Parkinson's and they rode these bikes. You wouldn't see that at other conferences where you had the inspirational aspect.
I really loved how they offered ping pong. I tried it myself. It was good to get kind of out of the chair and, you know, use my body a little. It was hard, but I made it to level 3. So ping pong was really, and I just ditto everyone what they say, that it really catered to everyone, not just the professional, but the patient, the caregiver, advocate. So.
Okay, this WPC is known for that. This is probably the only conference in the world that does appeal to everyone. You know, you are not denied access to any session. You know, science, you can go to as scientific as you want. You can do all exercise programs. You can do whatever you want. You have access to everything as long as there's space. Okay.
I did some of each every day.
Yeah.
Started out with the science in the morning. I started out with the science in the morning and then went to some of the other, the exercise programs late morning, I think. And spent time socializing too. They had a great buddy program, which I would recommend even within here. It's nice to have somebody who you can call and ask questions and text each other and stuff and get to know each other a little better.
Well, we can do that. We have our mentoring program, which is more formal than a buddy program.
Right.
We can certainly, I think that what has happened over the last 3.5 years is a lot of you have gotten to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the nice thing about me and, you know, going to Barcelona with all of you, we had 27 women with Parkinson's in our group. And I got to meet everybody, you know, all these people who I had not met in person prior to the conference, and we got together, and it's so nice to be able to actually see somebody in person and touch them, and everybody was hugging and taking selfies, a lot of pictures taking everywhere. But it was just so nice to see everyone in person.
I don't know if anybody else went to David Leventhal's class, the, Dance for PD. I knew of him from, video classes and stuff, but we both went, and it was so great to do that in person with this huge group of people to dance together. And there were several other teachers that each, sort of led a session. It was really, really fun and exciting and moving.
A lot of the other teachers were Spanish.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did have some separate tracks in Spanish, which was great. There was a very large, there was a good turnout from Spain. Unfortunately, not from the rest of Europe, which is too bad. But okay, so I was asked, people want to hear my answers to the questions too, and let me do that, and then we'll go back to, I have some other questions for all of you. What impressed me most was the fact that we were all together, and it was just the feeling of being one group who had one aim, which was to educate and help those of us with Parkinson's, educate each other and help us. We learned to be advocates. We learned to take care of ourselves, and it's all there. There's too much. I likened it to Disneyland, where you don't know which ride to go first. You could have used 3 more days. Am I right? I wasn't exhausted, but we could have used 3 more days. What impressed me the most, they did something I've never seen before. There were close to 200 volunteers, I believe. So we went to the opening session, and when we came out, the volunteers were lined up in 2 rows to lead us into the exhibition hall where there was a reception, and they were clapping and cheering us as we came out. It was like a reception line that was just went on and on and on forever, and it was amazing. It was such a feeling of welcome. Did all of you feel that way? Enjoy that. And then at the end, after the closing, they did the same thing, but they escorted us outside to the outside of the convention center, sending us off on our way home. It was really special.
That was really nice.
That's literally.
And the fact that they had Sir Paul McCartney speak to us during the opening.
Not in person.
I have that video if you want to see it.
Yeah, has everybody seen the? We can
The
show
Parky
video.
Raccoon one, and I have both of them.
Yeah. Parky Raccoon is kind of long. That's the problem. We'll see how much time we have. There was one of the videos that they showed was called Parky Raccoon, and a musician took the music from Rocky Raccoon, which is written by McCartney, and put new words to it about Parkinson's, and it was hilarious. And apparently he has worked with McCartney and or the friends or something. But anyway, so they had the video of Paul. Was it before the Parky? Was it before or after? I don't remember.
It was after.
It was after.
After, yeah, that's what I thought. It was really fun.
Because as the song finished, my husband said, "I wonder if they gave him permission." And then all of a sudden, McCartney comes up there.
Yeah, and he said he gave him permission.
Yeah.
It was really, really fun. Okay, and what else?
I can shorten the Rocky Raccoon if you want to hear it. Parky Raccoon.
Okay, hold on 1 sec.
Okay.
My favorite session, it's hard to say. I didn't go to as many as I would have liked to because I was busy at the posters. I had to be at the poster for 2 hours each day, and I had one of the things that happens when you have gone more than once or twice is you spend a lot more time networking than anything else. I spent a lot of time in the hallways talking to people who I've been in touch with over the years. In fact, it even started in the airport. We were walking to customs and somebody came up behind us and said, "Are you going to the conference?" And then he recognized me from my blog. So, but it was everywhere we went. There were people to talk to, and I didn't go to a lot of sessions. The opening I thought was amazing. The closing was great. The drumming session at the end was so much fun and so uplifting. They had a drumming session and they had volunteers. They were all people with Parkinson's who were drumming. In fact, I looked up there and Cindy Guthrie was up there, who was part of our group. They were looking for people and she said, they asked the volunteers if anybody wanted to do it. She said, okay, I'll do it. And so it was, anybody could do anything. You know, there were no limits for us as people with Parkinson's. I think that's the beauty of the whole thing. Okay. Okay. What updates on interventions came to your attention? This came from Honore Shaughnessy.
One of the things they talked about, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Eileen.
Prehabilitation.
Okay, explain
The
it.
concept of taking rehabilitation before you actually have the problem. I thought was A, very interesting, and B, it made a lot of sense to me. So I'm going to try some of the issues that I think are coming, but haven't arrived yet.
I think that was really important. And we actually had a speaker about that, about doing early intervention or prehabilitation. Because we tend to wait too long. You know, so many times you go to the neurologist and they don't give you referrals to anybody for anything until there's a real problem. By then, it's often too late. So I agree. Anything else? Any other updates in intervention?
Well, they talked quite a bit about the alpha-synuclein marker that the Michael Fox Foundation had the press release on, and that's really more relevant, I think, to the researchers than it is to us, but it'll affect the research they're doing going forward. And they talked quite a few sessions, touched on that a little bit, as how that's going to impact them.
Okay. Anybody else?
Sharon, I was just
going
to ask the people who went, did anybody get anything out of the vendors who were there? The drug, you know, there was, I don't know, where was what, 40, 50 vendors, you know, hawking their latest things, their apps, their devices. Did anybody? I don't think Deborah got anything out of it, but did anybody?
Patrice has a bunch of brochures right there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Patrice.
Well, there were some interesting things. They had a management software that you can have in your an app on your phone, where you one of them had a thing where you put it on your shoe, and the other one just hooks up to your Apple Watch. But I haven't found it to be that useful yet. It was too much that they wanted me to put in, and I'm still trying it. But they had a guy with glasses who was really interesting. They had like sunglasses, but they're light sensitive, but they don't take prescriptions. So I think you'd have to wear your glasses underneath if you wear them. And they had a little projection of light, like a little line, and it was supposed to help you with your walking. And I'm not quite sure whether it keeps you even or what exactly it was doing, but we put it. I put it on myself, and I wasn't sure, but I wasn't that much off balance that day. And but a friend that was with me, one of the buddies, she put it on, and she was really a wobbly person, and she was walking really straight and comfortable with it. So that was kind of interesting. I have the information if anybody wanted it. Yeah, there were just a lot of the things that you've heard of, the little pulse thing that goes, the Q1 has, it's a little, let's see if you can see it.
Yeah, it's a button that you put on your chest.
Yeah, and it vibrates kind of like your phone does, or your watch does if you have a watch. But it has some kind of pattern in it, and it helps to improve walking also.
I tried the vibrating gloves. That one of the vendors there had the vibrating glove.
Oh, I missed those.
I didn't find any effect on that one. It was supposed to help with tremor, and I didn't feel that it was doing much for me that day. But and it was
I think
expensive.
you probably need to do it more than once. I think it's cumulative with that one. Anybody try the red light?
May I
red
make
light
a,
hat?
may I make a comment on what
Sure.
Patrice said about the Q1? I heard about it like just last week. So I went on the website and it's not available in the US. I guess you probably know that. But you can get on a waiting list.
Yeah, they're waiting
Yeah.
FDA approval.
Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, okay. Anybody try the red light hat? No?
No, but I have another thing to share is that we've been using it for a while for hair restoration. My husband was losing his hair, and we were talking to this neighbor who was 10 years older than us, and we had no idea he was. He's got a full head of hair and you know, spends a lot of time at the gym. And when he told us about what he does to help his hair grow, is he takes you know, he puts whatever, I forget what it's called, Rogaine, I guess, puts Rogaine in his hair. He does this thing every 2 days. I'll show it to you. It's a red light therapy.
I need that.
I don't know of any other place where you can try things out like this. There's no Parkinson's like store, you know, you can go like this. So that's another good benefit of going.
So you get exposed to things that you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
All in one place.
Yeah.
I'm just muting the people with, if you are not speaking, can you please mute yourself because there's some background noise. I was muting people, but I don't want to mute speakers. So please just go ahead and mute yourself.
Andrea has her hand up, Sharon.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Go ahead. Let's see. We had her hand up. I'm sorry. I can't-
Andrea-
Good morning.
Andrea.
This is Andrea.
Andrea.
I was
hi.
at the conference. I was one of the volunteers.
Right.
So my recommendation would be for anyone going for the first time, not to volunteer your first time because there's just so much to do, so much to experience, so many people to meet. I did it because I have experience working other conferences when I was working. But I had a fabulous time, met a lot of really sweet people, including one of our own twitchy women, Linda, who's on today. Miss you, Linda. And there's a lot of the app. If you load the app, WPC 2023, there is a place where you could see all the pictures that people loaded up while they were taking during the conference. So it's a lot of fun to re-experience the conference for those that who went. The other thing I would say is it was a great pleasure to work as a volunteer. That clap tunnel that Sharon described, I looked to one of the volunteers that I was standing by and I said, is this what the Oscars feel like? Because it was such a great event to do, to applaud all the not just the volunteers to partake in it, but all the participants. You know, I have a lot of respect for our researchers. They were quite available. In fact, I loaded up a picture where me and another Parky, we took a picture with two the scientists that wrote Ending Parkinson's. If you haven't read the book, it really is a fascinating book to read and to contribute to your advocacy. Dr. Dorsey and Dr. Michael Akun, we took pictures with them and they were very friendly. And we thanked them for all the work that they're doing, and they sounded extremely positive in terms of, you know, we're all looking for a cure. We're tired of treating the symptoms and we want a cure. And they really sounded optimistic about what's coming up down the pike. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, there was just so much to do. And so it's going to be back. The conference will be in the States in 2 years. And we're hoping it'll be in California. I think California has a lot to offer in terms of big cities and convention centers. So we're hoping for that. And again, I would recommend everyone who gets an opportunity to go and attend the conference, but maybe if it's your first time, not to volunteer. There's just too many great things to do and see and fun. We had a blast, especially the first unofficial day when the cyclists were arriving. the Catalonian Parkinson's Association had this great reception out there receiving the cyclists. There was music, food and drink and just party, party, party. And it was just a great time. We had a fabulous time. So I'm grateful for that. And of course, meeting the members of the Twitchy Women, that was a lot of fun too. There's a great picture in the photos in WPC where I'm escorting Deborah, one of our own Twitchy Women. I pulled her into the tunnel because she was walking on the side, and I pulled her in and I had her quickly introduce myself as, you know, one of our fellow Twitchies. So it was fun. We had a great time.
Can
Speaking
you
of the
put
volunteers.
the link to that in the chat, please?
Put what
Andrea?
in the chat?
The link to the pictures.
I don't know how to put the link. I put YouTube
Okay.
Barcelona WPC 2023, but the app, if you go into the app store and you can find the app and just load it up. And then once you go in there, there's different places you can search and it would be under photos.
Okay,
Oh,
great. And
Also,
hopefully I can-
there is a volunteer video that you could see on YouTube, and there's a great picture of Deborah and myself.
Okay. That, if you can put that on in the, if you can put the YouTube video in the chat, that would be great. Yeah,
It's in the,
Naomi,
it's in
thank-
the app, see, it's in the app, Sharon, so photo sharing.
Do you
yeah.
do you know how to put the app, the link into the chat room so people could just load it up?
Cut and paste, maybe?
Okay, if somebody can do it on their computer, maybe. All right, let's keep going. But Andrea, that was great because I don't think people understand how important the volunteers are.
Yeah.
And I think they required much more time from me this year than they did in the past. Usually it was like one day and then you could go to any
Oh,
session
no.
you wanted to that day.
There were
But you were
3
not
mandatory
doing that.
meetings we had to attend. Monday, it was like a 3-4 hour in the morning. And then the closing and the opening were all mandatory, but did not count towards our hours. For hours for the week, we had to do a minimum of 20 hours, which was easy if you were doing the volunteer in the session you wanted to listen to. And so I did get to hear a lot of really good presentations, and I got to meet the panelists because we would refresh the waters while we were up there and see if they needed anything. And there was a tablet we would give them so they could do all the, people could load up their questions prior to the panel finishing. And so it was fun. And the other volunteers I worked for, they were phenomenal. I met a lot of people from everywhere, you know, Australia, Pakistan, there was a large contingency of Spaniards working as volunteers. And I think they might've been from the Catalonia Association. Students, oh my gosh, unbelievable. The amount of students that I got to meet. It's good to know the brain power is there for our future. They were just really the sweetest, nicest people in the world. I didn't know it was a prerequisite to, you're going to be involved with Parkinson's or be a Parky, you have to be nice, you know? It was
Andrea,
fun.
You know what?
Andrea, is
The
that
general
you?
feeling is.
Hey, that's our
Yeah, there you
picture.
are.
That's one of them.
Yeah,
That woman's Janet. She's 70 years old. She's still working as a photographer in Ohio. Nicest lady in the world.
mhm. It was, I have to say, it was a wonderful experience. I think for everybody who went there. Let me see if we can get back to our. Let me see if I can get them back.
I think if you volunteer, your registration's paid for, isn't it?
It was. I can't even tell you what registration cost because it was paid for. So
Yeah.
I didn't.
Registration was about $400 a person if you did early registration. I have a feeling it's going to go up next time. We don't know where it's going to be. There are rumors. There were all kinds of rumors that would be San Diego, Las Vegas, which nobody wants to go to, Nashville, Atlanta. We have no clue. Everybody was just, there were guesses. And they kind of left us with, we're going to be leaving you clues so you can figure it out. But we haven't gotten any yet. and we don't have the dates. So once we get the dates, I will let you know, and you can put it on your calendar. And it is really, if you can swing it, it is really a must do. Let's keep going.
Speaking of the volunteers, Sharon, I just wanted to say, the volunteers were amazing. It was so, there were so many people, and they were so positive and helpful. When we arrived, there was an opening ceremony, and then afterwards we went to a reception. And as we were leaving, the opening ceremony and going to the reception, I realized that the volunteers were all sort of lining the way and applauding for us. And it was, the whole experience, not just that, but, it made me feel proud to be among this, such a smart and creative and kind group of people.
Well, the volunteers were even at the airport. So if you they were right outside of baggage claim. So if you needed help at the airport, there were volunteers even at the airport.
Wow. Okay. Patrice, did you have something?
Smart.
That I enjoyed?
No, you're like Pima. Any other comments about the conference? I'm going to go to one last question, and then we will open it up to the questions from everybody else. What was your takeaway from the conference? And if you wanted to invite someone to join you next time, what would you say to them?
My takeaway is I'm not alone. There's other people working on this, and other people that have this. And I met this incredible woman at breakfast one morning. Her name was Linda, and she was in a chair, missing one arm and both legs. I guess she'd been in a train accident when she's younger, and now she has Parkinson's, but in the good arm, not the one that's not there. And she was just incredible and positive and happy. And I thought, wow, if I'm having a bad day, I'll have to think of her. Think how
she spoke to our group last year, Linda Olson.
Yeah.
She had the book out, and she was amazing. She was one of the planners actually of the conference.
Yeah, she's a doctor too, and her husband's a doctor. And I thought, and just for him to have stayed with this young woman, at that point hadn't had any children yet. She went ahead and had a couple of kids too, I think.
Yeah, she has 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Okay.
She said her husband, the accident, her husband said to her, "I didn't marry your arms and your legs."
Oh,
he was amazing too.
Yeah.
So, okay. So Patrice, if you were to invite somebody to come with you next time, what would you say?
It was just a great time. I mean, it was having, because a lot of times you're the only one in the group of people that have Parkinson's. And I've had Parkinson's for 12 years. And for a long time, I didn't tell anybody at work and that kind of thing. So I would be the only person, and somebody would make some comment about Parkinson's or about their dad or something like that. And I had to bite my tongue and not say anything. And it's, now I know more people that I talk to about it, but it was nice to be with something, people that are trying to help us and people that are in the same boat, and be able to talk to them. In person.
Okay.
And it was in a fun place too. So it's always nice.
All right. Who wants to go next? Eileen?
I'll go next. I would, as far as coming to the conference, I would tell a person, you'll get answers to the questions that you have, and then you'll learn a whole lot more that you didn't know you needed to know.
Okay. And what is your takeaway from the conference?
That it was one of the best conferences I've ever been to, in terms of the people, the camaraderie among the people, and as well as the quality of the presentations.
Okay. And okay, Deborah.
I would just say that for me, it was transformative in terms of the way I feel about myself and Parkinson's, and it's really, really amazing.
Mhm. Okay, and your takeaway?
Your takeaway?
Go,
So,
what should go.
all right, Hank?
Yeah, well, as a care partner, this is not my first time with someone who has a disease of some sort. So it just reinforced how important it is to go to these kind of conferences. And as a care partner, knock on wood, for myself, just I would grab any care partner, because I know, from the sessions I went to, a lot of care partners feel very alone and isolated as well, like Patricia said.
Mhm. Okay, Elisa?
So somewhat of being like an introvert, I think it was a little bit overwhelming. So if you're anything like me or an introvert, just to not expect to go to everything, because like everyone is saying, you're going to meet people in the hall, you're going to meet people in the restroom. I mean, you can just pace yourself and don't have expectations that you have to do everything, because you'll never get it all done. And my takeaway is that, yeah, I feel less alone and less isolated, and I felt like less fearful to have Parkinson's. And there was just so much hope and joy and creativity and enthusiasm. So I'll definitely be going again, especially if it's in California.
And Ethel?
I would say, if someone asked me, start doing your homework now and think about if you could ask any researcher any question you have in the next couple of years. Keep that in mind, because you'll be able to do that. I just appreciate that so much, that these people are just so approachable and so available to us. And I think it's very important that we attend these things, because that's part of advocacy. If we show up in big numbers, people realize how important this is to us. So part of it is not just for us, but to show others that it's important that we show up for these conferences, that finding an answer to this is important.
Okay. All right. I'm going to, it's almost 10:02. I think I can show the pictures now. Let me try sharing my screen one more time and see if we can, there it is. Yay. These are just photos that I had from,
We can't see it.
just a sec.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay, here we go.
Who wants to see this? Samantha. Mga pictures sa Barcelona. See the pictures in Barcelona.
World Parkinson.
Yeah, it's coming in California next year.
Let's go. Please mute yourself. Thank you. That's Linda.
That was Linda.
That was Linda Olson, who's best.
Yeah. Okay. So that's just a few of the highlights. And it's still playing. Hold on. I don't know why it's still playing in the background.
We can't see
Hold
it.
on.
It's okay.
Huh? Okay, you can't see it, which is good. Oh, it's just playing music in the background. Let me see if I can get it to stop. There we go. Okay. All right. Any other questions from anybody? Okay, Lauren.
Is there anything different that any of you are doing now that you're home? now that you're home? Did you learn anything while you're there that changed your behavior?
Okay, Patrice?
I went to a few of the nutrition sessions because I had a doctor look at me one day and say, "You're dehydrated." I'm like, "I am," and he started telling me all the things that I need to eat to reduce inflammation. And so one of the things I'm doing is drinking a lot more water. And the other thing is I'm trying to cut down on meats and meats and sugars and that kind of thing. So that's helped me because he had already told me that. And then I come to the conference and they have the same thing in the, Mediterranean diet is better, and the leafy vegetables that are better than other leafy, like iceberg lettuce is worthless probably pretty much, where the kale and shrimp, not shrimp, spinach that I've been avoiding, those are good. They give you healthy things. So I that's something that's changed for me.
I would also add dairy. Dairy,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
dairy, no dairy.
We were talking about that earlier. I don't eat meat, so I do eat a lot of dairy, and I'm doing well. So whatever you have to take everything with a grain of salt, literally, because it's going to be different for everybody. What works for me may not work for you, as far as diet is concerned. But yeah, for most people, they recommend little or no dairy. And unfortunately, I don't like a lot of the dairy substitutes. So I'll have oat milk or almond milk on my cereals, but I don't like the fake cheeses.
Oh, the cheese
I
is
want real
different.
cheese. If I'm going to have cheese, I want the real thing. So
Me too.
yeah.
Yeah, but
So
there's
you have to find what works for you. Everybody is going to be different.
Yeah, there's a lot more alternatives, like for ice cream and stuff. Some ice, good real ice creams are good, but the ones that are made by Ben and Jerry's that are dairy free, they're very good too. So
for me, we just got back from Spain on Friday. So I was there 3 weeks and I didn't have a lot of red meat, because I didn't find it on any menus. They had a lot of pork. So I didn't eat. So I ate a lot of fish and veggie. Well, not enough veggies and too much bread. But I did notice that without the meat, I do feel better, which is pretty interesting because I'm a real meat eater here at home. So I'm going to continue trying not to have beef. And I don't really crave it like I thought I would. So
Okay. Let's see. Linda asked about the red light hats. Does it help anybody? Has anybody tried it and has found it helpful? No.
those are US approved?
I'm sorry, what?
Are they US approved?
Yeah, they are in the US.
Okay.
Well, that'll be for another time. Maybe we'll get somebody to come and talk to us about it.
Susanna has her hand up.
Okay, Susanna? I'm not seeing it, but go ahead. Suzanne?
Nope, I guess not.
I don't see any hands up. Okay, I think then we're going to call this a wrap. We're going to move on, and I've got a few announcements for you. So let me go back to sharing my screen again. Without seeing a total. Let's see. Go back to my PowerPoint. All right. So. All right, so that's today. Okay, so next up, August 6th, we are going to be hearing from Dr. Jamie Martin, who is the founder of Synapticure. Synapticure is an online service that provides movement disorder specialists and other people, other auxiliary people for Parkinson's, nurses, therapists, and other things. They specialize in PD, and the whole idea is that they are there for you if you can't find a movement disorder specialist anywhere near you, or it's too much traveling to get to someone. Maybe you see somebody in person once a year and then you see them in between, but they are licensed in all 50 states. And then on August 27th, we are going to have Dr. Amy Mallett, I think it's Mallett, I can't see it on my screen, who produced an opera film with people with Parkinson's. It's a 30-minute film. I will get you the link ahead of time. It's called Her Story. And she's going to talk about, and probably have some of the people who were involved in it. They sang, they wrote it, they did artwork, they did all kinds of things. And she was actually on the poster tour, and her poster was next to mine. That's how I met her. And it's very interesting. So that will be August 27th. And then we're going to have our next book group will be after that one, that same day, with Michael J. Fox's new book. And if anybody would like to facilitate that meeting, let me know, because Amy is not available that day, and we will need a facilitator. And then next, coming soon, if you want your, we have, my daughter's been working on some new stuff for us, and there's gonna be all kinds of things available. You can order one piece, you can order 6, whatever you want. If you want your Twitchy Woman swag, it will be available. I'll get when it's up and running, I will let you know. Our peer-to-peer mentoring program is going strong. It was a big topic of discussion at the conference. A lot of people were very interested in it. We are the only ones doing a program like this. Most of them are doing the buddy system, where it's just a much more informal type of thing, where you pick somebody because you like the way they look online, or you like what they do, whatever it is. So if you're interested in becoming a mentor, we would love you. We need more mentors. If you're fairly newly diagnosed and you have a lot of questions, you need somebody to just help you get through those first few months, please apply to be a mentee. And we have our chat group still going on Tuesday mornings. And then with Shelley, anybody's open, that's open to everyone. And we have Twitchies Without Partners on Sunday mornings. And that is it. I'm going